There is no need for another church that doesn't love the Word of God. You have seen a lot of churches that they're really just in business, and I mean business, right use of words, business for themselves. They are after what can make them famous. The pastors, the preachers, those that are involved, they use it as a stepping stone. As a matter of fact, Paul uses gives us an inclination of what they're after when he says that there are people who will see this as a means for gain. In other words, this is what they use for them to gain, not realizing that godliness is actually the gain. You've seen a lot of the things that really bother me from Christians and from churches. As a matter of fact, some of the things that bother me, I'm pretty sure also bother you. Have you ever just even gone on to Instagram? Just go to Instagram. Go to Instagram and type in some of the names of the famous preachers, whether they be good or bad, whether you like them or not. Just type in some of the names. And you know what you're going to find? You're going to find a lot of them promoting themselves. A lot of them talking about where they went to go eat breakfast, or them in another city. They're in New York City. They're in Miami. They're in Los Angeles. They're somewhere else. They're traveling, and they're showing off what they're doing. They may even be showing off who they're with. I get it if you want to just talk about, hey, I was out somewhere with my family and we went to, I don't know, an amusement park, or we went to dinner with my family. But no, they use these as kind of an opportunity to show themselves to be, what do they call those things that are on TV? Those real life TV shows, not really real life, but you know, the manufactured shows where the people are kind of showing you behind the scenes of their life. I forget what they call those things. But that's kind of what they're doing, but they're just doing it instead of on TV, on MTV or someplace like that. They're actually doing it on Facebook, or they're doing it on Instagram. Why? Because they kind of control the narrative and they promote themselves. That should never be. Reality TV. That should never be the case with a person who is charged with the gospel. That should never be the case. Jesus, after he talks to Peter, after Peter has sinned. Now, before Peter sins, what does Jesus say to Peter? He says, you're going to deny me. All that tough talk, all that brashness, all that bravado that you have, yeah, you're going to deny me 3 times. And then do you all remember what Jesus said to him? Jesus says, and after you return, when you return, meaning Peter, you're going to turn away. You're going to go ahead and move on somewhere else, but you're going to come back. After you get past the failure, the vivid failure in front of everyone. As a matter of fact, it's going to be so big and so vivid that we're going to document it. Just to show you how much we love you, Peter, we're going to document it and put it in the greatest selling book ever. So for all to know that you denied me 3 times. But when Jesus comes back, he didn't say, hey, Peter, what was up with that? Remember all that tough talk you did? Hey, Peter, you got it in over your head. You got a little ahead of yourself, didn't you? Peter, you were talking tough, but that really wasn't you. Peter, you big chicken. That's not what Jesus did. Jesus said to Peter, after he asked him 3 times, do you love me? He said to him, feed my sheep. Tend to my sheep. Feed my sheep. Ladies and gentlemen, that's the goal of these pastors. It's supposed to be the goal of the pastor, not promoting themselves. Where in the Bible do we hear about Peter's life? We hear about his mother-in-law being sick and Jesus healing him, but that was more to do with Jesus than it was Peter. What do we hear about Paul's life, or John's life, or James' life, or Jude's life? We don't. Because when it comes to being a shepherd, when it comes to being a preacher, the goal is what? Christ. That's who I magnify, as the word says, I decrease so that he may increase. Not in today's churches, though. No, in today's churches, the pastor is central. The preacher is central. And I don't like that. I don't like the churches going for anything and allowing anything. There was a time where I did, but that was in my immature days. I don't like the pastors having more topical. Listen, I think topical sermons are fine. There is no requirement, but I don't like when all that is just topical and the people never actually get to the meat of anything. The reason why you have certain topics covered in the Bible Is why. So people can learn. So people can apply what the text says, but there still is an exposition underneath whatever the topic is. The topic just might be an occasion for a truth of God to be revealed. And churches today don't like to reveal the truth of God. That's the problem. I don't say don't. Churches today, many churches don't like to do that. See, for me, I'm not interested in photo ops. This is just me personally. I'm not interested in best-selling authors. Would I mind writing a book? Sure. Thought about it. May still one day. I'm not interested in being a best-selling author. People have approached me about actually writing a book. Hey, Corey, you need to go and write a book. That's not my interest right now. I'm not interested in hanging out with other content creators or other pastors. I'm not interested in hobnobbing with other people so we can kind of, network and things like that. I'm not interested in networking with people about the gospel. Why would I do that? I'm not interested in making the most money and traveling around and taking pictures of myself in these different places. I'm just not interested in that. That's just not me. What I do want to do is, what I am interested in is I want to make people love Jesus. That's the most important thing to me. I want people to love Jesus. I want to cause people, I want some sort of way God to use me to cause people to love him. And then also I want to make people excited about his word. Listen, I love his word and I want people to be excited about it. And then I want to make people excited about sharing. I want them willing to share it. Because listen, the more you love Jesus, the more you're going to want to get into his word. And the more you get into his word, the more you learn about his word and you love learning about his word. And the more you love and learn his word, the more you're going to want to live out his word, meaning share it. Either verbally by giving the gospel or by showing it in your actions. That's what I'm into. Hence the little moniker, love it, learn it, live it. Love the word. Learn the word, live the word. Love it, learn it, live it. So I see some of these preachers, and too many just simply are self-seeking and self-serving. Again, promoting their brand, promoting their church, building or promoting their success, using the body to enrich themselves, seemingly no love for the word and no love for the people. And so I've been sharing with you guys what I was thinking of doing, all my plans, what I'm looking forward, all those different things. And I don't know if you checked out the calendar, but it's about the time that I said we would go ahead and start our in-service Bible studies. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I've got news about our in-service Bible studies. They're not going to happen right now. They're going to happen, just not right now. I'll tell you why I pushed things back. Talking to my partner in crime, that'd be my wife, the better decision was to go ahead and push it back. I'll share with you why, but we're not ending it. We are going to go forward, but there's a reason why I felt it necessary to go ahead and push it back. And I want you all to see the goal, the point, the purpose, because I don't take this stuff lightly. Now we have fun. I love having fun, having a good time, joking and laughing, but also being serious. I do love that part. But I don't want to do things the wrong way, because the goal for the in-person Bible study is to eventually lead to the church plant. That's something I want to do. But there's a whole lot that goes along with that. And I think a lot of people enter into that process only thinking about the positives without thinking about the other things, the interactions that you have to have with the people. See, I'm not interested in having other people do my work. I'm interested in actually doing the work of the Lord. I want to be like when Acts speaks about David, that when I serve my purpose, then I'll rest. That's what I want to do. And there's one problem that I have to overcome before we do this. I'll tell you about that more. But again, in doing this, there's some things that a church has to be, that a leader, that an elder has to be. So what are those things? Well, a church needs to be an expression of God's love. Where all this came from, and I want you all to remember this, where all this came from was from prison. It's amazing how you can see God clearer when you're going through. It's amazing how your eyes become more opened when you're made to focus more on him. And so there I was with a bunch of people who, one, morally were failures, and then who also doctrinally were failures. These were people who just did not know or understand the Bible. And the reason why many of them just didn't know or understand the Bible, because they didn't know or understand Jesus. As a matter of fact, the reason why many of them just didn't know or understand Jesus, because they didn't care to know him. They had no desire. But you run into people who were desperate, who were low, who were grieved, who were deceivers, but having also been deceived themselves, people who were at the lowest rung of society. Yeah, if you can cut your teeth in ministry there, if you can, and I didn't cut my teeth there, but if you can develop and get a good appreciation of ministry there, then you can do it anywhere. If you can work with those people, if you can work with the worst of the worst, and I mean the worst of the worst, then you really can work with anyone. If you can minister to people who don't play nice with others, if you can minister to people who get angry quickly, and when they get angry, they get violent. If you can minister to people who are used to running away, who do not appreciate authority, who don't want to be taught, who don't want to be shown. If you can do it there, baby, you can do it anywhere. You can do it in any group. Now, it varies from place to place. But while I'm there, the one thing that I thought about, and what we did was we developed this little compassion fellowship there in prison. What this was just simply just showing compassion to people who need it. And how do you show compassion? Well, the way you show compassion as a fellowship is the same way that you take care and that a church should be, the same way any elder or leader in God should be. Compassion means that you share the love that's been shared with you by the Lord to other people. And then compassion also dictates, because you know the word, that you will labor with them to get them to understand the word. There are people, I don't know if you all know this, there are people out there who actually want to make sure that they know everything and you don't. There are preachers who would rather you only listen to them instead of teaching them how to go and find the word for themselves. I'm not interested in that at all. I'm not interested in being the person who knows what the theme of 2 Corinthians is, or what the writer of Hebrews is trying to get across, or what's happening in the latter portions of Deuteronomy. Why is the writer of Lamentations lamenting? Yeah, I don't want to tell people the answers. I want to show people where to find the answers and how to understand this. What did the man say? This thing is bigger than Nino Brown. Right? This thing is bigger than any one person. Problem is, it's easy to go to their heads. It really is easy to go to your head and to get your head filled up and people tell you nice things. That's easy. It takes a grounding to keep you grounded. Kind of like Paul. I'm not comparing what Paul went through, but Paul had an incident after being shown something to keep him humble. I talk a good game, but I can promise you, I don't think that much of myself. Nor do I want to. Why? Because I've seen where that can get me. I'm going to defend the gospel as vigorously as I possibly can. As vigorously as I can, and my stance as vigorously as I can. Now, some may confuse that for being arrogant and prideful. You just want to be right. No, I care about the word. It's not like I spent all this time reading and studying, trying to learn the languages, trying to learn history, trying to learn the culture, all those things just for someone to show up on a 1 or 2 minute section on YouTube and then all of a sudden I'm convinced. That's not how that worked. What sort of study would I have been in? Think about this. Years and years and years of study to have someone show up and then say, yep, you're wrong. Well, since you said I'm wrong, I must be wrong. No, make them earn it, just like I'm going to make you earn it. I don't expect you to change your mind after 5 minutes of speaking with me, nor should you expect me to do the same thing. But I'm going to show you the scriptures. I want you to show me the scriptures. And I do this all the time. I don't know if you all notice this. When people leave their comments, just go watch some comments, especially on the more controversial or divided issues, and watch how often people don't give you scripture. Watch how often people just give you their opinions. Oftentimes it's a slanderous opinion. No, I want you to give me the scriptures. I want you to give me this. Watch how often when we're talking about, I don't know, something like eternal security, and I give them these texts. Watch how often they run away from the text that we gave. Watch how often that happens. Or we're talking about who can be an apostle. Notice the people who will say, no, Corey, you're wrong. They can be an apostle. Really? Did you see the requirements? Are you just ignoring those things? Notice that I don't want a group of people like that. So at this Compassion Fellowship, we would hold people accountable to the scriptures, teaching them just that. So when someone says, Corey, you said this, but I looked at the text and I think it means this. What are they doing? They're holding me and themselves and everyone else that's listening accountable to the text. I don't know if you all noticed this. Tell me if you've noticed this with yourselves and other people in the chats. People come back and say, Corey, you said this. What did you mean by that? What are they doing? They're holding me accountable to my words from the scriptures. They go back and look at the words from the scriptures and say, wait a second. Hold on, Corey. I see this. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they're wrong. Maybe we both need to kind of see it differently. But what are we doing? We're using the scriptures. That's the goal. We love it so much that we want to learn it. Now, after you learn it, you love it and learn it, you'll live it. If you don't live it, then guess what you didn't do? You didn't do step one. You didn't love it. You don't love him or his word. You can't love God and not love his word. I don't see how you can. Now you can love God and only love portions of his word. I get that. There is a level of development and maturity, but that's what I'm after. That is what I'm after. So what I want to do, rather than do this summer, as I said, no, I'm going to push back. I'm going to go to the scriptures because I want you to see why. I want you to see, because remember, you have to be qualified to do these things. And I have intentionally put myself out there to see, Corey, are you qualified? Are you qualified to do this? So let's go to the text. The Bible says, and we go to 1 Timothy 3, it is a trustworthy statement if any man aspires to the office of overseer. It is a fine work he desires to do. He then must be above reproach. So this part has been vetted out over and over and over again, especially as it regards me. Why? Corey, I don't think you are above reproach. Corey, I think that what you did 20 years ago or 20 plus years ago means you're unqualified. Am amen. I appreciate it. The good part about it is that I know how to read, and the word that is above reproach is a present tense statement. Am I currently above reproach? Am I known to be in a particular sin right now? Yeah, but 20 years ago you were. That defeats the point of this word here, ine. So am I in? No, but 20 years ago. And I give people as many opportunities. Why do I give people the opportunity to kind of cut me apart and see where I am disqualified? Because I better be able to know this for myself. I better be able to say this for myself. If I don't think I'm any of these things, now this isn't an arrogance thing or pride thing, but if I don't think these things, if I don't think I fit these qualifications, if I can't say this for myself, then I shouldn't do it. It would be absolutely foolish to say, yeah, I think I've got 4 of those things down, but the rest I don't, or I'm not sure. Or I don't want to come across as too proud or too arrogant and say that I qualify. You better. So I put this out here because I think I am, but maybe someone else doesn't. I've asked people, give me your scriptures. Tell me how above reproach means that once you've done something in the past, you can never come back. Tell me. We only have one. We literally only have one example of a person who has done something while in ministry and was restored. We only have one example, one person, that being Peter. Remember, Peter denied Jesus after having a regenerated heart. We know Peter had a regenerated heart because John 13 tells us he does. And then what does he do? I've never done that, right? Now, I'm not trying to one up Peter. Hey, Peter, listen, buddy, say what you want to say about me, but I've never cut anybody's ear off. May have wanted to. I can't say it, but the point is, Peter did that. And Jesus restored him. Now feed my sheep, knucklehead. Now you know you're not that great. Now you know you're not that, because one of the benefits, this may sound weird, but one of the benefits of falling, one of the best things that can happen, and you all can testify to this, you all know this to be true. One of the benefits of falling and getting hurt is knowing that you can fall and get hurt, and not liking falling and getting hurt. You've done some stuff that hurt you real bad. So I ain't doing that again. Me, I ain't doing that again. Nope. I don't like what it did to me, my family, and to the world. Nope, won't do that again. So that's one of the benefits. See, for me, I don't have to. Some people might still be in for a fall. I would much rather be the person who is recovered from the fall than the person who's in the middle of the fall or the person who's going into a fall. So I'm thankful for this. Exactly, Chadwick. It keeps you humble. It keeps you humble. I don't think much of me. Otherwise, you know where I'd be? I'd be at all those little conferences that other folks on YouTube are and other preachers go to. I'd be doing a whole lot of other things if I thought highly of myself. So guess what? I learned. Now, do I think I've learned so much that I can't fall again? Nope. As a matter of fact, I keep on the lookout. I don't know why I'm doing this because I have glasses on, but I keep on the lookout to make sure danger isn't lurking. As a matter of fact, I think danger is lurking. I expect danger around every corner. So I don't have a problem with this yet, or at present. Husband of one wife. Yep, that's me. Temperate. Am I temperate? Am I sober? Am I self-controlled? That I've never heard anyone say that Corey loses his control. I've never heard anyone say that, but I give the floor to people who would say, yeah, Corey, you don't have any kind of self-control whatsoever. No, I don't think that's the case. This is almost like temperate, but this is wise, prudent, wise. I've learned some things. I think to a certain degree I am. I'm really, really, really slow to move on some things. And then some things I'm just really slow to speak about. When you ask me a question about the Bible, we've covered it 37,000 times. Yeah, I'm not slow to speak about something that I've already covered. But I'm also open to saying, I don't know. Not sure about that. And even open to changing my mind or my opinion. I have been falsely accused of not being temperate. Hospitable. There's two parts to this hospitable. Am I okay with people coming over to the house? Sure, I am. Now, you get older, a lot of times you like your peace and quiet, right? A lot of times you just want to just hang out by yourself. Does anybody like just chilling and hanging out by yourself? The best company in the world is you. So I'm good with that, but also I'm okay with being with other people. I'm not, when I go to a bunch of people, you're going to find, this is weird about me. You probably don't know this. Matter of fact, you don't know this. But when there's a lot of people around and a lot of folks are chattering and talking and having a good time, I'm not the guy that's going from person to person to person. Hey, I'm not the life of the party. Nope. I'm going to find me a corner. I'm going to find me a seat and I'm going to sit down. If you want to talk to me, I'll talk with you. Matter of fact, when you talk to me, we'll talk like we're old buddies. But that's just not me. What you see here in terms of talking, I have to talk. Because again, how silly would it be if you come on and I just watch you? I have to talk, right? So I think I'm hospitable. Time will tell. And if we find out that Corey is not hospitable, then guess what? Corey is disqualified. Able to teach. Let me park here for a second parenthetically. Matter of fact, not even parenthetically. Let's make this an entire part of a subject. By the way, I'm going to give you guys a chance to ask questions at the end. So, do I think I'm able to teach? Now, I think there's a lot of people that think that I am. There are 250 plus thousand subscribers who say, yeah, he probably so. Or maybe they just think, hey, Corey, you're just interesting. You're not a good teacher, you're just interesting. But here's how I can convince myself that I am, even to the critics, to the skeptics. I can't think of very many topics that we've covered that they have knocked holes in the teachings. I just can't. Now, these aren't my teachings, so I'm not leaning on my understanding in my brain. No, it's not as though that I'm saying something that only I have come up with. If we're talking about the Nephilim, half the people believe in what I believe, other half don't. I'm just giving you a reason, a basis for what I believe. No, I'm not tooting my own horn. As I said, I've got to be able to say that these things I qualify. I've got to go through the checklist. I didn't make the checklist out. God made the checklist. So I've got to be able to go through and say, okay, Corey, do you check this off? Can you check this off? Can you check this off? If so, proceed forward. If I can't check them off for my own self, well, then I definitely can't proceed forward. Others also, to some degree, have to be able to check it out as well. So do I think I'm able to teach? Ask the question. That's literally one of the benefits of having the Q&As, because I can go and answer the questions. Do I know how the Bible is put together? Yeah. Would it be wrong if I said, hey, I know the story of Star Wars? Now, I haven't watched all the Star Wars, but let's just say I did. Would you say the person is talking too much about himself if he says, yeah, I understand Star Wars or Star Trek or Lord of the Rings or Game of Thrones or one of the other shows out there intimately? I know everything. Which season? Which episode? The part of which episode? No one would say, hey, no, he's arrogant because he knows the storyline of Walking Dead or the storyline of, let me think of a show, Dukes of Hazzard. No, everything about Bo and Luke and Uncle Jesse and Cooter and Daisy, even Boss Hogg and Roscoe. If I can know that, I should know the book and how it's put out. Remember, this isn't a first year thing for me. So I've got to be able to teach. What made me know this wasn't YouTube, by the way. No, what made me know this, what made me know this, by the way, Lakeisha, I'll cover that in a second. You'll see this in a second. Well, what made me know that I could teach 2 times. No, 3 times. No, 4 times. 4 times I could say this. 4 times in 4 separate prisons. Once at Beaumont, when we started off a Bible study with just me and a buddy, and then it just grew and grew and grew and grew and grew. I mean, to the point to where a lot of people were saying, yeah, I'm going to the Bible study on Saturday. Hey, what you going to do? I'm going to the Bible study. Well, there was only one Bible study. It was the one that we started with me and a buddy, that I started with him because he wanted to know the word, and it just grew and grew and grew and grew and grew. The second time is when I went to another prison. Same thing. Started a Bible study. By the way, having the ear of the chaplains there. That kind of, okay, Corey, maybe there's something here. The third time, going to another place. No, I'm not doing anything. I'm going to sit back, relax. Someone said no, because I was at a prison with Corey. Let's get this guy in here. And that grew. And the fourth time, same thing, at a different prison. Because in prison, you get moved around from location to location, especially if you make your way down to different custody levels and things like that. So that was the biggest proof, not YouTube. No, because there's some guys on YouTube who I think they can barely read or count, but they've got 1 million subscribers. So that doesn't mean anything, right? It's with these guys who owe you no allegiance whatsoever, and they come in as skeptics. So that's what helped me to give me the idea, okay, Corey, this guy, I think I can teach. Not addicted to wine. I'm not addicted to any kind of substance. None. So I think I'm good there. Pugnacious. This word right here for pugnacious just means I'm a violent person. Quick-tempered, ready to fight? No. I think I'm good there. Peaceable. I think I am there. Free from the love of money. Corey, you are, as I've been told, I'm a grifter. If I'm a grifter, I'm the worst grifter in the history of grifting. Because again, do you know how much money I could make on YouTube? Do you know how much money I could actually make on YouTube? I could say, hey, listen, about half of you guys are not subscribed. Go ahead and hit the subscription button. It won't take anything. And then like this video so we can get this content out to more people. It was weird me saying that because I never say that. Probably weird for you to hear that because I never say it. I just, you know what? If you want to subscribe, subscribe. If you want to like the video, like the video. If you want to share it, share it. If you want to offer, if you want to give some cash to the Corey and Joey Fund, feel free. I'm not going to tell you to do anything. I could. Hey, support it. Put my Cash App there, put my Zelle there, put my PayPal. I don't have Venmo. You know what? I'm going to get me Venmo. I'm going to have sell my merch. I still haven't hooked the store to the channel. And by the way, you'd be surprised to know who doesn't get paid from the merchandise that is sold. Not me. I don't even have channel memberships. YouTube says, hey, get some more channel memberships. Not a big deal. Because I found out that God takes care of me anyway. I could do so much more. I don't think I've subscribed my husband and you know what? Thank you. Your husband owes you. You subscribed your husband to the channel. He owes you. If he doesn't treat you right for you subscribing, we're gonna cast that demon out of him. No, I'm kidding. Thank you for subscribing him and yourself. So that's one qualification. And do I have a love of money? No, I don't think I do. Lakeisha said something though, and I've got to bring up what Lakeisha said. She said, "I think your respectability may be in jeopardy because you announced that you are going to tell us something and make us wait for eternity for the announcement." Doggone Lakeisha, I'm upset with you. Lakeisha speaks harshly, but she tells the truth. This one right here, he must be one who manages his own household well. This is where I feel like I'm in jeopardy. Not what you think. Not that, hey, Corey's house is in disarray and all kind of crazy stuff is happening. No. But I could do a whole lot better on the organizational skills. I take on too much. I do too much. I've got too much going on. And so what ends up happening is some things kind of get lost. Some things fall by the wayside. Again, I've got hundreds of, not even hundreds, I'd be lying if I said that, thousands of texts and emails and things like that I haven't responded back to. So you know what I can't do? This is why we're pushing this back. This is why. When are you starting the church? The reason why it's being pushed back, the reason why the in-person Bible study, and then, by the way, the way it's going to work is the in-person Bible study, the people that show up will be part of the decision-making committee. Hey, we should look for this particular date to launch. We should do this and that and so forth. Why? Because it's not going to be a Corey Minor production. But before we do that, I don't want to just go out there and just, okay, like I'm flying by the seat of my pants. Ducks need to be in a row. I need to have my T's dotted and my I's crossed. Somebody's going to catch that. I need to have my T's dotted and my I's crossed. Or as you people say, your I's dotted and T's crossed. So I've got to make sure I am better organized. My problem has always been, I'll get it done. I get things done. They may not be timely or in the order, but I get things done. And you can't do that when you've got a body of people with you. You can't do that. You've got to cast a vision with people so that people can know where you're going. It'd be one thing if I was, hey guys, get in the back of the truck, sit back, and I'm driving. We'll get there. I promise you we'll get there. But that's not what you do to a body of believers. They need to know, even if you're driving, they need to know what directions you're taking, what they can expect along the way. If you get tired of driving, they don't know where you're going, what route you're taking. They couldn't take over if they wanted to. So I can't do that. It's got to be something that's that's spelled out, and that everyone else has this vision. Because what happens if in 5 months of starting it, I get a heart attack and die? What happens? What happens if something happens to me? What happens if some wayward Hebrew Israelite wants to take me out? Then what? And the problem is, speaking of Moses and Aaron, it becomes burdensome. Can I ask you men a question? How many of you men feel like you can handle whatever the load is? Here's my hands, here's my arms, just dump it on me. Give me whatever, I can carry it all. I feel like I can carry anything. I feel like I can do it all. I can pick it up. I can carry it all. I can get us there. I feel like if TT and E-Dub and Lakisa and Catherine were laying on the ground and a lion was coming, if they were laying on the ground injured, I feel like I could outrun them and get away so that the lion will get them. No, I'm kidding. I feel like I could grab all four of them and drag, if I can't carry them, drag them to safety. How many men feel like I can do it? I can get it done. That becomes a problem. That becomes a problem because guess what? You're not. You're not Superman. My favorite Avengers character is Captain America. And what's his phrase? I can do this all day. I feel like I can do this all day. I'm a get up and I'm a get up and goer. I'm a goer and getter, whatever you want to call it. That's me. I'm gonna get up and go. I'm gonna fight. I'm gonna push. All those things, but that's an unnecessary, wearying way to do things, especially when you've got help. So I've got to be cautious, and I'm nowhere near to the point to where I'm doing a good enough job, effective enough job at managing little things. It's the little things that I've got to be better at managing. Now, since I'm not the best at managing the little things, can anyone see where a particular problem is going to occur? Oh, I don't know, in 1 month's time? In 1 month's time, there's going to be something that's going to really press my time. I'll give you a hint. Seminary starts right back up end of August. So end of August, now I've got my seminary studies. I've got what I'm doing here. I've got family. Oh, by the way, I've got a new grandchild coming. And then I've got the weight of what's going on with this Bible study and church plant. So therefore, it's just wise. And it was something my wife was talking about, and it just makes sense. Just why rush something? Because if God is behind something and you want to do it on Monday, if God is really behind it, it'll be there Tuesday. It'll be there Friday. It'll be there next week if that's really what God is behind. If it's for me, if it's something that I'm doing on my own, that'd be the only reason why I would rush into something. That would be the only reason why I would rush into something. No, I'm not taking a whole lot of classes this time. My course load is going to pick up, but when the course load picks up, other things are going to drop off. So this is the issue with me right here. Managing not my household, but it's the little things of the household. And there's always something, always. The old dog Rosie today, she went to the hospital, not the hospital, but I guess the vet. And she's got something going on. She's an old dog. She's an old dog. We don't know if she's having something with her brain. She's struggling a little bit today. Rosie's struggling today, and so there's always something. While at the same time, while they're taking care of her, and I got to go pay for her, my youngest daughter is going. I got to take her to the dentist, but I've got my two oldest grandchildren and their cousin, so I got to pack all of them up. So it's a whole lot going on, right? This is almost an everyday thing, though, with me. There's always something going on. I'm used to it, but I don't want to do that and then drop the ball when it comes to people who are under this particular ministry. So for that reason, I'm not a fool to think that I can fix and handle everything. No. So if I can't manage those things, I'm not going to, do trial and error with managing the household of God. I'm not going to do that. So you can't excite people about the word of God if you are delayed or behind on things. Nope, can't do that. So now, what's going to happen is, at least for the next few months, things are going to be just the way they are. We'll put different types of or more teaching material onto the Patreon. So it'll be the teaching stuff, and it will be the questions on Patreon. You're going to see a lot less information on Patreon coming back over to YouTube. And then you'll see a lot less of material on the smaller channel, on the other channel. And then once the church plant starts, would you see me here every day? No. Why? Because there's a flock to take care of. If you're shepherding, you can't just see. It literally bothers me to see pastors and preachers go off to gallivanting over to some other pastor's church or to some conference for a week or what have you. You are a horrible shepherd. You are a horrible shepherd. Or you're a self-seeking shepherd, a selfish shepherd, a shepherd who doesn't care about the sheep. Kind of what Jesus says. I'm the good shepherd. The good shepherd lays down his life for the sheep. He who is a hired hand or a hireling is not a shepherd, who is not the owner of the sheep, sees the wolf coming and leaves the sheep and flees. A lot of times these pastors, they leave and go to these different places while they're in the middle of some sort of turmoil at the church, or people are going through things. That bothers me. I couldn't see doing that, or leaving that church for what they think is green or are greener pastures. Couldn't do that. No, I'm going to go ahead and, guys, it was real good. I know I planted this church or I started this church, but there's a better opportunity over here, bigger church, bigger salary, whatever. I'm going to go over there. Everybody at that church should be afraid. I don't like that. I don't like the gimmicks. If you can't preach the word of God and get folks excited, and folks can't feel the excitement and the passion that comes from you when you preach a text or when you teach a text, because all preaching is teaching. If you want to throw some emotion and personality in it, fine, but it should be just teaching. See, I get tired of seeing pastors get up there and read a verse or two, and then the entire sermon has nothing to do with that. It's just them just kind of doing TED Talks. It's just them doing motivational speaking and not going through the word. Break the word down, study the word. I'll stick by this. I think that every preacher should have some sort of handle on Hebrew and Greek. That's your tool. It's like having a basketball and you don't like the way the basketball feels. You don't like picking the basketball up. You don't like bouncing the basketball. Really? It's like being a cook and you hate turning the stove on. Right? It's like being a driver and you're not sure how this car works. That bothers me. And here's what's sad about it, but it's fine though. Smart Christians get it. People who are foolish do not. It's sad that people will see you go through the text and get mad at you because you have the audacity to read the Greek. That is sad. That's where we are as a people. That's where we are as a church. We don't like people telling us that or showing the Greek or the Hebrew. No, we don't like that. Who does he think he is? Thinks he's just smart. Think he's just full of head knowledge. Really? Tell me I'm lying. Tell me we don't see people saying that about what happens over here. You should want to get as much of the word as possible, like he said, like newborn babies desiring milk. We should desire the word of God. But most don't. You guys, let me just say this. Let me give you your flowers. You guys are in the minority. You guys are in the minority on YouTube. Say what you want to say. I don't care who you're talking about or whatever. How many channels on YouTube will spend time going as in-depth as we do? I'm not saying we're the only ones. We are definitely not the only ones. But looking at the words, going through, hey, Corey, that's too much information. I don't care if it's too much information or we've covered this topic 12 times. We'll cover 12 more times before the week's over with. And we'll look at the Hebrew, the Greek, and everything else about it. And that was intentional. Because I found something out, ladies and gentlemen. I found something out. What we do here isn't for everybody. Biblical response, they do it a little bit. What we do isn't for everybody. You'll see people, because it's funny how many people have Christian channels and don't do that. What's the that I'm pointing to, ladies and gentlemen? Can anyone tell me what that is? How many Christian channels don't do that? Just, what am I what am I talking about? And I thought it was the weirdest thing. And then one day I started just clicking on YouTube channels and just clicking on them and clicking on them and clicking on them and clicking on them. Like, wait a second. How come you guys are talking about the word but don't put the word up? That's just really weird to me. Now, some people heard that I said that and started putting the scriptures up there, putting the word up there. And then watch how they do it. Listen, quit being cheap, you bums. Go buy you some Bible software. If you are going to actually be someone that puts yourself up as a student of the word and you don't have some sort of Bible software, even the free Bible software, that's problematic to me. You just want to put words up there, which shows how surface level deep you are. I'm not even talking about the far right side of the screen, where we put the Greek up. How are you teaching and you're not teaching? How dare I get up here and put the words up and just read the words and not teach it? Because that's what preaching is. The problem is a lot of people don't understand that to be a preacher, you got to be a teacher. That's what it is. So this is what you want. Now there are some channels that do that. There are some. And those are the channels that you should go to. Those are the ones that you should desire. I want to hear what Earl Smith said about this text, about this word. I want to hear what Frank Jones said about this text over here. That's what you want. But it just dawned on me. I started looking like, wow, a lot of these channels don't even put up the word themselves. That's scary. But that's the sign of the times, ladies and gentlemen. Paul said people will not endure sound doctrine. People are going to fall away from the faith, the teachings of the faith. That's what's going to happen. That's what he meant when Jesus said, do you love me? And what did he say? I love you. He says, tend to my sheep. Feed my sheep. Feed my sheep. How? What do you mean? Shepherd my sheep. Do that. That's the job. And so how can you do that without, one, you got to take care of yourself. Two, know the word. Give the word, but give it in a way to where you're teaching it so they can know the word, so they can do the what? In turn, share it with somebody else. I want you to tell yourself for a second. How many of you have ever in your life, that's going to be all of you, but have ever in your life wanted to share something that you heard, but you didn't learn it yet? I hadn't learned this thing, but I wanted to share it. And so all I can do was refer them back to the video or the book or the television show that I heard this on. I hadn't learned it myself. Otherwise, had I learned it, I could have fully and sufficiently shared it with them. All I could do was tell them, hey, go watch this channel. Go watch this video. Oh, you ought to see this. When really, I just want to share it, but I haven't learned it enough. That's the state of a lot of Christians. We go tell somebody something, but we hadn't really learned it. Well, that's not what I want. Nor should you want that. Again, a church should be an expression of God's love. A church should be a guide to God, to his word and to his holiness. Those two things, his word and to his holiness. And holiness has to do with our practice, how we walk, how we deal with each other, how we treat each other, how we love each other. I am, and you're going to see this emphasized, especially more and more in the next few months and going forward, I am extremely interested in how much we love each other. Yeah, I want you all to believe the same thing I believe about tongues. I want you all to believe the same thing I believe about salvation. I want you all to believe the same thing I believe about how to read the Bible. I want you all to believe the same thing I believe about the end times. I want you all to believe the same thing I believe about even small things like the Nephilim. I want you all to believe the same thing I believe. More than that, though, I want you all to know the same person I know. I want you to know the Lord, and I want you to have a love for him. And I want to show you that love for him by showing you my love for you. That's what I'm interested in. That's the goal. And so I want us to treat each other a certain way. Down through the chats, in the comment section. I've gone back and made comments and said, you know what? I'm going to change this comment. This comment can seem a bit insulting. Now, there's some harsh comments I give, but let me see if I can say this a different way. How can I say, you know, that was really stupid what you just said? How can I say that in a godly fashion? I'm telling myself. How about you say, you know what? That's a really interesting way of you putting it. No one in the history of mankind has ever thought of it that way. Let me share with you why the scriptures probably disagree. So that has to be the focus. That has to be. There aren't 10 people dumber than you. There just aren't. How can I say that a different way? You are a very unique individual. And I appreciate how you bring that to the scriptures. But let's see what the scriptures actually say, or what we think they say. Yeah. You say, I need more study and prayer time. Maybe you're right. Matter of fact, I know you're right. I do need more study time. I need more prayer time. Now, I think the reason why you said that, now you can correct me if I'm incorrect in how I see what you just said. Probably you're saying, Corey, you don't know what you're talking about. You just say anything. And you probably don't have a connection with the Holy Spirit, because I get this every day. Not saying that's what you're saying. I think that's what you're saying. I could be wrong. No, I ain't going to say shut your goofy mouth. I'm not going to do that. Oh. You're saying, say to them, you need more study time and prayer time. Okay. Because I get this every day. Guys, I get so many insults. And my wife said, what you doing? And I'm about to tell this guy off. And I have to delete it. No, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. Yeah, just no. So I try to labor with people, and I've got to get better at even. My wife told me something. My kids tell me something. Said sometimes, Corey. No, my kids don't call me Corey, but the way you say it. What you mean the way I said? That was me being nice. No, it came across. What you mean the way it came across? You mean to tell me I have to worry about the way it comes across? Yeah, you do. If you want to be a YouTuber, you ain't got to worry about nothing. But if you want to be a shepherd, if you want to lead people closer to the cross, if you want to lead them to a better understanding of the Word of God, yes, you do. You do have to be concerned about your delivery. There are times where, whatever. And there are times I do care. You got to be consistent all the time. And when you're not, you have to be willing to come back and say, you know what? I was wrong. I was sorry. Forgive me. Forgive me. So I don't want to, I want to be what Peter says. I exhort you, elders among you, as your fellow elder. Now, this is coming from Peter. Peter, this is rich. You should talk, Peter? I want to exhort you as fellow elders and witness of the sufferings of Christ and partakers also of the glory. He says, shepherd the flock of God among you, exercising oversight, not under compulsion, but voluntarily, according to the will of God, and not for sort of gain, but with eagerness, nor yet as lording it over those allotted to your charge, but proving to be an example. This is Peter talking. And when the chief shepherd appears, you will receive an unfading crown of glory. Look what he says, though. Look what he says. He says, you need to have this humility towards one another. Peter, you're saying this? For God is opposed to the proud, but gives grace to the humble. How would Peter know? Peter was proud and got humbled. Therefore, humble yourselves under the mighty hand of God, that he may exalt you at the proper time, casting all your anxieties on him, because he cares for you. Be of sober spirit. Be on alert. Be on alert. Your adversary, the devil, prowls around like a roaring lion, seeking someone to devour. You. But he says resist him. Well, you can't resist him if you're ready to cut folks up, if you're ready to cuss folk out, if you're ready to yell at folks. No. So me. It's the best thing for me to wait until likely, I won't tell you the actual date, likely January or February. I think January, but someone's going to come back and say, wait a minute, Corey, there's too much happening in January. Maybe the 1st of February. Don't know. Now, fortunately for us down here in Texas, weather's pretty good. Yeah, our winter might be, 50? And we'll get that 1 week where there's going to be a bunch of snow and ice. And then folks lose their mind and can't do anything. So, now, I'll even tell you tentatively what we call this little gathering. And you can tell me, hey, Corey, that's a horrible name. That's a trash name. That name is horrible. Well, I've already told you, didn't I? Compassion Fellowship. That is the name. Now, it might change. It is not etched in stone. But right now, Compassion Fellowship. And what I'm going to have to do, Smart Christian Channel Fellowship. But no, Compassion Fellowship. That's what we were known for in the prison. Showing compassion to people that even in prison, there are some people who don't like others to receive compassion. I thought about naming it Transformation. But we'll figure this out. Now, there is one thing that I'm going to do that I regret doing. There is one thing that I'm going to do in due time that I regret doing, but it is necessary. And that is, we are going to take offerings then. We are going to intentionally and consistently take offerings. Why? Well, by the way, this isn't going away. So when we start the in-person Bible studies, let me give you an example. When we start the in-person Bible studies, this channel will still air live, taking, as we go through our lesson, taking questions from the audience there and the audience here. Do you know what that requires? What would it require to do that? Just populate it in the chat to see what you think it would require. Meet in my house. What would it require? It would require, at the very least, 2 cameras. Would it not? One focused towards the front and one towards the audience, because you kind of want to see the people, right? You're going to need what else? Microphones for the speaker and for those that are asking the questions. You're going to need lighting. Yeah, you're going to need equipment. You need equipment to do those things. You just have to. Wires and so forth. You got to, obviously the place needs to have some sort of internet hookup, which most places will. Speaking of the place, they tend not to let you come in there for free. So you've got to pay them whatever their daily requirement is. And it may be a Tuesday, it may be on a Saturday. Don't know. But you've got to pay them. What's the going rate? Well, we charge you $400 an hour or $200 an hour. Those are the things that you need. We're not going to take up offering for the actual church plant. That will be for the people that are going to be there. Now, they'll figure this out, how we'll take up offering for the eventual church plant, and then where we're going to be and how that's going to be. We'll figure that out. I do know that we'll start off at some point in time, somewhere in the middle of the DFW area, meaning it will not be, let's say, in West Fort Worth or East Dallas. It won't be all the way up in McKinney. At least I don't think it will. It won't be in Cedar Hill or Mansfield. Some of you folks have no idea what places I'm talking about. It won't be in Aledo. I mean the place that are on the further outskirts of the DFW area. Now, this is a large area. This is a large area. There are almost 8.5 million people here. Not Burleson. Burleson. Or is it Burleson? I say Burleson, but I guess it is Burleson. So, someplace where we ain't come. I'll tell you where we're not going to do it. We're not going to do it. Oh, you said come to my hood. I thought you said come to the hood. What we're not going to do is having a hood. Where's your hood? Richardson? If we have it somewhere central, where, and this is the question that we're going to ask everyone else. Where is central? What's central? Is it Arlington? Is it Grand Prairie? Is it the northern part of Arlington? Which, by the way, Arlington has gotten ridiculously large. It's big. 300-something thousand, getting close to 400,000. Downtown Dallas, downtown Fort Worth, I don't know. Can I be over the Dallas Cowboys choir? So those are the things that we will figure out. Listen, I'd love to. No, I take it back. I would not like to come to California. I'm sorry. I like to visit. Visiting California is good. Leaving California is better. Texarkana. And I'm pretty sure, Lakeisha, you mean the Arkansas side of Texarkana. By the way, Texarkana has one of the better prisons in the BOP, in the Federal Bureau of Prison. Pretty cool. Seagoville. No, but I did time at Seagoville. Why am I talking about prisons now? I did time in Seagoville, Oregon. Is that still part of America? Have they not seceded yet? So yeah, I'm praying about it. I'm praying about it. But what I'm gonna do though, Kelly, is I'm going to ask other people. Where'd you go? I'm gonna ask other people, hey, for your input. So let's say we decide the first week is going to be at location A, and that's, I'm just throwing out a name. Let's say that is in Arlington. But then people say, you know what? No, let's go a little further north. And that's kind of where the leading is. We'll go there. We'll try it out. No, let's go further west over into Fort Worth. Fort Worth is growing. I can see at some point in time Fort Worth surpassing Dallas in population. Now, let me just be clear. People in Fort Worth are going to be upset with me. All of this is Dallas. Say what you want to say. All of this is Dallas. Richardson, Mansfield, Arlington, Grand Prairie, McKinney, Frisco, Argyle. All of this is Dallas. You know why? Fort Worth would be small if it weren't for Dallas. Arlington would be 50,000 folks if it weren't for Dallas. I mean, listen, it is what it is. It is what it is. You can say what you want to say, but it just is. Fort Worth would still be Cowtown if it weren't for Dallas. So I'm sorry. I apologize. People are gonna be hurt because of what I just said. You guys don't get it if you don't live in the DFW area. I don't know why folks in this area go back and forth and fight, which is better, Fort Worth or Dallas. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. One is a little bit more laid back. One is a little bit more kind of fast-paced, upscale-ish, or think they're upscale-ish. Same thing with north part of Dallas and southern part of Dallas. Same thing with the different parts of Fort Worth. But it's all Dallas. It's all Dallas. There's no Frisco without Dallas. Right? That's like Indianapolis. There's no Carmel. There's no Zionsville or Westfield. There's no Fishers without Indianapolis. There's no Brownsburg, McCordsville, all this places like that. Chicago. There's no Evanston without Chicago. So I think so too. I think those might be the most central. But the problem is, though, we were talking about this. The problem is, because it's central, it's a lot of traffic there. Not necessarily in Grand Prairie, but if you're coming off 20 to Grand Prairie, a ton of traffic. But then 20 is so far south to Grand Prairie. What about the people who live north? So, yeah, this is a large area. A large area. And the only place that I probably could never see myself going to is the southern part of Fort Worth. I got a buddy that has a church there. And I don't want to, I don't, although it is nice over there. It is nice over there. So I don't know. But this is where everyone else comes in. And so there's going to come a time when I say, hey guys, we're going to need you to help. Listen, if we can get a church over there in Highland Park, not Highland Hills, but Highland Park. If we have a church, if we plant a church in Highland Park, why am I smiling? Because if you live here, you know what Highland Park is. If we get a church in Highland Park, if we plant a church in Highland Park and is well attended, oh man, he said Texas is Hades hot. It is. Someone asked a question about how hot does it get in Texas? I'm thinking about coming. How hot does it get? And the person responded, have you ever been cremated? It's hot here. It's hot. Highland Park is high cotton. It's just high dollar. Highland Park and then University Park, where SMU is. Just money on top of money. They'll tip you. Whatever you get paid for the week, that's what they'll tip you when you go to the store. Just money. It's ridiculous. So, yeah, Highland Park is listen, if I could live in Highland Park, if I could live in Highland Park, I would have at least two people that work for me. Somebody on the lawn and somebody that comes in and cleans up. Maybe somebody that cooks. Maybe somebody that drives. So, now, what I want to do is, after updating you guys, give you guys a time if you want to ask questions. You can ask questions about whatever, about what we're doing going forward, or it can be a Bible question. Doesn't matter. Whatever you guys want to answer. I got a little bit of time. I'm going to work out later on, and I'm working out outdoors, so it means I'm going to have to work out probably in another hour or two. By the way, I love working out outdoors when it's hot. Yeah, buddy. And then I'm going to walk. Let me come back in, take my little shower, and I'm probably going to play a game or two with my grandkids. And then I'm going to watch my new show. I got a new show that I watch, ladies and gentlemen. I recommend it. If you haven't seen it, it's called, what is it? I Will Find You. I think it's I Will Find You on Netflix. What's it called? I think it's called I Will Find You. This show is awesome. I'm only into the first 5 episodes, but it's called I Will Find You. Has anyone ever seen that? How was the birthday party? It was cool. Actually, it was smaller than I thought it was going to be, which was perfect. Yeah, I Will Find You. It was cool. My grandson Corey, he got everything Spider-Man. He got everything Spider-Man, which was cool for him. Now, I don't know if you all know this, but Corey thinks he's Spider-Man. He doesn't think he's Spider-Man, but he loves Spider-Man. Let me share this with you guys. I did this. This was, when was this? This was a couple years back. And this is Corey being Spider-Man. Where is it? Do I still have it here? Yeah, here it is. Let me play this. This is Corey and him loving Spider-Man, even as a little kid. Well, he's still a little kid, but he hadn't even turned 2 yet.
It's a book.
You gonna do your are you gonna pick your toys up?
No.
Are you gonna pick your toys up?
No.
You want a spanking?
No.
Then you gonna pick your toys up?
No.
Corey.
No.
Corey.
No.
Stop saying no. Are you gonna pick your toys up? Why? Why? Why are you being disobedient? You want a spanking? You want to watch Spider-Man? Huh? You want to watch Spider-Man?
Yeah.
You do? Why?
Because I watch Spider-Man.
Well, you got to pick up your toys first.
No.
You want to watch Spider-Man?
Yeah.
You gonna pick your toys up? Huh? You gonna pick your toys up?
Yeah.
Okay, then you can watch Spider-Man. Is that a deal? High five. Yeah, that little boy, he loves Spider-Man, and this is how you know he likes you. If he walks up to you and he shoots you with a Spider-Man web, then you're in the club. Then, if he webbed you down, you. Anyway, so we had a good time. And I didn't go overboard in buying birthday gifts. I went out and I just thought, okay, yeah, I'm getting ready to go. I'm gonna need a loan when I'm through. But I didn't. His brother has a scooter, and so he wanted one because he's always riding his brother's scooter. They had a nice Spider-Man scooter. Bam, we're good. We are good. So yeah. The problem is they named that boy Corey, and he is stubborn. This little boy is stubborn. How old do you have to be to take the Lord's Supper? Good question. Good question starting us off. Old enough to know better. That's the answer. If you understand the gospel, that's who takes it. If you understand the gospel, if you know what's happening, then you can take the communion. It doesn't save you, but it's in remembrance of what saved you. So you should know. And if you take communion, now here's the problem with taking communion. If you take communion and you know what it's about, but you're not saved, and you take it in an unworthy manner, now you're bringing about damnation upon yourself. Now, it's not irreversible. It's not irreversible. It could, but you know what it's for. You're taking it because I know what it's for, but I don't care. At least I live that way. So there's a problem. Okay, more questions. where will or does the YouTube family fit in all this? You're still going to be a YouTube family. We're still going to have live streams. We're still going to do Q&As. We're still going to cover certain topics and things like that. There's no way that I could do a live stream every day like I do now, or as often as I don't even do a live stream every day now. But as often as I do it now, there's no way I can do it then. Just wouldn't be able to do so, right? But you guys will always be who you are. And at some point in time, here's what I've always envisioned. I don't know if it's going to be that way, but I've envisioned other people coming on board and doing lives on the channel. Don't know what's going to happen, how it's going to work, but let's say Earl Smith or John Smith or Professor so-and-so would come on and just record a video or do a live stream covering a topic, and then also taking questions. Amen. No. Carlos said, I'm always nervous when I'm studying and teaching, and very fearful when I teach, because I don't want to lead anybody astray. Should I stop? There's a text in James, let not many of you become teachers, for there will be a stricter judgment. But don't let that make you afraid. No. Let that cause you to make sure that you're studying. Let that be the impetus for you doing so. I want to make sure I get this right. Amen. Alrighty. Why are people afraid of the number 3 6s? You mean 666? Are you afraid of it? Because you put 3 6s. Why don't you just put 666? 666. It's like saying Bloody Mary 5 times in the mirror. Or was it Candyman 5 times? Whatever it is. Why didn't you just type in 666? There is nothing to be afraid of the number 666 or 616. The earliest fragment or copy that we have from Revelation, the two oldest copies that we have from Revelation, from that verse of 666, say 616. I don't know which one it is, and scholars are confused as to what it is. So let's go with 666. If that's 666, what's that going to do for you? Right? I mean, would you take $666 right now if I offered it to you? No, give me $665. Give it to me. I'll take it. I've seen people with 666 subscribers like, come on, hurry up and get me off of this. Or someone unsubscribed for a second. There's nothing to be afraid of. It's not like the number isn't evil. This is the number of the man and the mark that will be taken to signify it. So I think people get a little bit of superstitious sometimes when it comes to these things. That's what I think. Any tips on how not to be gluttonous? If you're talking about food, I think the only tip is to learn about what food does to you, especially too much of the wrong kind of food. You're going to have to figure out how to develop a healthy lifestyle. So, for example, it's one of the easier things for me to do when I came back from prison was just to eat American food, free food. That's what you typed in 666. Okay, there you go. Look at you. You ain't scared of anything. But learning how to eat free food, food on this side of the fence, food that you guys been eating. That was hard because, we didn't eat like this before. So it's easy just to gobble that stuff up. And certain stuff, when your family buys it and puts it in the refrigerator or puts it in the cabinet. Oh man, now you went and bought this stuff. Doggone it. So write down what it is you want to do and what you don't want to do. If it's for health reasons, do this. Take a picture of yourself. Take a picture of your body and put it on your phone somewhere so that you can see yourself. Like, yeah, I can't eat this. And then start working out. Start doing something. Earn the treats. I've worked out this much and done this, so I can go ahead and give myself a deserved snack. Right? But then also the right kind of foods. Now, if you're talking about gluttonous, if you're talking about gluttony when it comes to other things, I think this apply the same thing. You want to have a healthy lifestyle. What was the menu in prison? Let's see. We had trash, fried trash on Wednesday, baked trash on Thursday, broiled trash on Friday. No, let's see. Wednesday was for lunch. I'll give you lunch. Was hamburger day. Friday was fish day, and the fish was usually horrible. I mean, yeah. It smelled like garbage on Friday on fish day in some cases. Like, I mean, like you know how garbage gets when there's water in it, that wet kind of garbage at the bottom. That's kind of what it smelled like. And so Thursday was usually chicken day, either Thursday or Tuesday, but Thursday is usually chicken day. So Thursday is usually well attended. Monday is surprise, whatever. They would have, for some reason, one of the better meals for dinner in prison was breakfast, when they would serve breakfast on Thursdays. I think now, by the way, the food would cycle. So you'd have this national menu, and we would have every quarter the national menu would change. So one quarter out of the year, it's breakfast time. Maybe and sometimes even twice. So we would have a breakfast menu on Thursday. And for some reason, inmates love breakfast for dinner. So the food wasn't very good. It just wasn't. What's crazy is you got used to how bad it was, and so you would have good food in prison that was really still some garbage. It was still bad. So when I got to the camp, though, it was awesome. At the camp, you're going to get two things. Well, three things. Better food, because there's less people there, and the inmates are cooking it, and so the inmates have even more of a vested interest in cooking decent food. By the way, sometimes what they would do is the guy that's over food service, they would, when, let's say, Chili's or Olive Garden ordered something from a certain company and they didn't need it anymore, that company would call up the prisons. Hey, I got 5,000 gallons of ice cream. I've got some steak tips, whatever. And then it would come to the prison at a discount. So sometimes that would happen. But when you get to the camp, two things happen at the camp. The inmates in the kitchen, a lot of times a cook boss would allow them, if they do a good enough job, and they would because they have a motivation, to go and sell food out of the kitchen. Oh man, listen, you're talking about they would have smothered chicken and cabbage, sweet potatoes. I'm talking about some real soul food, and they would turn around and sell it to the inmates. That's how they'd make their money. They would sell it for stamps. How much is this? One book. What was a book back then? $6, $7 for a book of stamps. Oh yeah, fried chicken. They might have ham or turkey. They would do all sorts of things in the kitchen because it's still food. They can cook it up how they want to cook it up. Or since it was a camp, and in most camps there is no fence around the camp, you would have inmates that would take off running and run across and meet someone who went to McDonald's or Popeyes or Church's or you name it, Wendy's, and bring back that kind of stuff. Like, wow, I'll never forget the first time I had a junior bacon cheeseburger in 11 years, 12 years. Like, wow. Or the first time I had real bacon in prison. Took me 6 years to get some real bacon in prison because it's always turkey bacon, or they call it faking bacon. So I've heard this before. Is it possible that David's mother was unwed to Jesse based on Psalm 51:5? Behold, I was shapen in iniquity. And I do know that, I think it's House of David. Yeah, House of David portrays David as being born out of wedlock or to some sort of sin like that, that's not true at all. That we can't say that at all. David's not saying that I came out of an adulterous or a sinful relationship. No. So we shouldn't accuse her of that. David was born to a mother and father. We don't know what the relationship was like, if there was a happily married couple, but we can't say that Jesse was unwed. We couldn't say that. So that would just be eisegeting a text. Really, truth be told, eisegeting an entire context. So, Hop and Bob, tell them about the gun line, boss. And do you know how many people in prison ask for somebody else's cornbread? You gonna eat your cornbread? So, and matter of fact, I tended to give away my cornbread. Hey, Corey, you gonna eat your cornbread? So, I'm sorry, I was reading someone else's stance. Do you think that a church should use church discipline for a member who has a different theological views than the elders of the church? Not a different view on major. No. And depending upon what the topic is, no. Church discipline is for, now if they're promoting heresy, that can be a problem. Then yeah, where we would say, listen, we gotta try to convince you of this. Or at the very least, get it to where you're not teaching this. So, for example, at one particular church that I was at, the church believed in eternal security. I did not. I believed that you could lose your salvation. That was an issue. That was a tension while I'm serving in the church. Do you know what I didn't do and what I wasn't allowed to do? I wasn't allowed to preach that, to promote that. Now, we went back and forth, and they labored with me and worked with me and pushed with me. And I said, no, you guys are wrong. And then eventually I ended up saying, you know what? Yeah, I think I do see this now. I get it now. So there shouldn't be any church discipline for that. Now, some things that arise to the level of just pure heresy, now we're questioning, are you even saved? And by the way, you don't put someone out of the church because they're not saved. You get them saved. You use this as an opportunity. Now, if they're disrupting, or if they're living in sin and promoting sin and causing sin, that's when the church discipline comes in. Does being baptized at a church in water serve any real purpose now? Yeah, it does. It does. At the very least, it shows people that you have, at least verbally, outwardly demonstrated that you have entrusted your life to Christ. So now how should they then treat you? After that, they should treat you accordingly. You said you're a Christian. We're going to treat you like that. You went through this whole act of getting baptized, being identified as a believer. So I expect you to be that way. I hold you to that standard. So yeah, at the very least, it serves that. Now, it doesn't serve to say, hey, now this person is they're really saved now. No. Yeah. So he says church teaching should be to stop teaching that you got to get baptized to be saved. Do you believe that the model that Paul set up for the church should be adhered to? And your thoughts on church that deviate from the model? So there's different types of church leadership models. You might have a church model where there is a senior pastor. You might have a church where there is a committee of elders. I forget who the guy was that we covered this before, where I said, well, here's an example. I may have to do this again, where I showed an example of what I thought was one elder-led one, because in the Bible, you didn't have a lot of elders. You didn't have a lot of communities where there were a lot of elders going around. And then also, or a senior pastor. Now, obviously, there's no such thing as a senior pastor in the Bible, but you did have in the Bible examples of people who were kind of the first among equal. So I don't think there's necessarily a pattern other than a style, a way, meaning that as long as we're teaching what the apostles taught and causing people to live a life of holiness, then I think you're fine. So if you've got a group of elders, or if you have a hierarchy of elders, or equality in this plurality of elders, because guess what? Both work and both have been corrupted. We've seen both be bad and we've seen both be good. Can God take sleep from someone for chastisement? I guess he can do anything. Sure, I can see him doing that. Yeah, you know what? You get 2 hours of sleep. You did something real dumb. You getting 2 hours of sleep. That'll teach you. He could. I can't tell you or say what he would or would not do. It's possible, man. That'd be a hard one, especially the older you get. If you're young, taking sleep wouldn't bother you. But if you get your 30s and 40s, isn't that crazy? You couldn't stand sleeping back then. Now you let somebody interrupt your sleep, you ready to fight. I could see it. Sure. I think he has made people restless and unable to sleep. He can weary you in your sleep so where you can't get any. I can see that because he's trying to communicate something to you. I can see that. Did Noah curse Ham or Canaan, and why did he give a curse? He did not curse Ham. He cursed Canaan only. Now, here's the interesting thing, and we need to cover this. As a matter of fact, Sean, do me a favor. Do me a favor, because I've seen people cover this. Let's talk about that. Let's do a video over that. Why he did what he did and what it amounts to. Because the people that were cursed, or the person that was cursed, was Canaan. Cursed be Canaan. But how far did it extend? Now, some of you dark-skinned folks have been told to believe that you have been cursed. And I'm going to be honest with you. Some of you folks, doggone it, you out there in the streets and you act like it. They're just, call it what it is. Sometimes we do. But then again, you know what? There's some white folks that act foolish, and some Hispanic folks and some Asian folks. But somebody got to lead the league in scoring. And right now, we're leading the league in scoring. We just are. Because we're being sold a bill of goods. We're being told not to be responsible when we are. We are Most black folks don't commit crime. Most black folks don't go to jail, or most black folks pay their taxes, all those things. And so we allow people to tell us things that we should not live. Now, some people would take and extend the curse of Ham and Canaan, but it's not a curse of Ham, but a curse of Canaan to black people. Those are the black folks. No, it's not. Go look and see. Black folks there are people from all three sons that live in all parts of the earth. There are people that are derived from Shem and Japheth that also end up going south as well. Obviously, there's a majority. There's a majority from Ham that went south into Africa. Okay, fine. But we can go back and look scripturally and see how they all intermarried anyway. So you're going to see the bloodline of Canaan. By the way, where did the Jews go? What land did they go into? And who did the Jews intermarry with when God said not to? So Canaan was cursed, but, and by the way, the word curse just means to be loathed, to be thought of or esteemed lightly and treated that way. Well, for a long time, that would be the Jews as well. Interestingly enough, they could be thought of to some degree as being cursed, but they're not cursed. Whole nother story. And so send me an email so I can do that. I want to do that. I'm going to forget. As soon as I get off this broadcast, I'm going to forget about it. But I would like to do that. Moses intermarried, didn't he? He didn't violate anything. He married a what's Moses' wife's name? Saved him and his son because she circumcised him. Lord, what is his wife's name? Miss Ethiopia. What is his wife's name? Someone tell me before I forget. Come on. Can remember. I don't want to type it in and look it up. Zipporah. Thank you. Starts with a Z. Doggone, listen, we can get there together. We can get there together, Zipporah. No, there was no outlawing. There was no prohibition of him marrying or them marrying anyone else. Or wait a second. Yes, it was. No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. No. The prohibition hadn't happened yet. So, and by the way, marrying someone who's of the same faith is good. No, irrespective of their ethnicity. Okay, you said answer your question, but she did not put her question in, so now I have to search for it. Oh, actually, I'm sorry. I did. I actually marked your question. I did. She said, Corey, Brother Corey, did you see my question? She didn't put in what the question was, but I actually did have it already marked. 1 Corinthians 11, 21, 22. Since we don't have dinners or suppers for communion anymore, how does it apply to today's with a piece of cracker? So think about how communion is today. Or was it? Let's go to 1 Corinthians 11, 21. Oops. For in your eating, each one takes his own supper first, and one is hungry and another is drunk. What? Do you not have houses in which to eat and drink, or do you despise the church of God and shame those who have nothing? Because you're eating bread. This wasn't like our little wafers that we would eat. And this wasn't like a little small cup of, juice. So you would have actual wine. And if you're drunk enough of it, guess what, ladies and gentlemen? You can get drunk. You mean tell me the communion drink at that time was strong enough that if you drunk enough of it, you get drunk? Yep. And people were doing so. Or they might show up and say, you know what, I'm still a little hungry right here. Let me get my fill of bread. And so they would do that. This wasn't like, we having pork chops and greens or cabbage, sweet potatoes, macaroni and cheese, and some dinner rolls. No, this was just bread and wine. But they were misusing it. And so it'd be hard to do it today. You couldn't. That's an awful lot of those little tiny wafers to eat and 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 get full off of. That'd be kind of hard. Now, I could see maybe some of that grape juice that's been sitting there for months and years or what have you, if it begins to ferment and then you drink enough of those things. But it'd be next to impossible for the same thing to happen. But, hold on, some people do have communion where it's actual bread and an actual wine. Some people do. So in some places, some churches here in America, you could get full and you could get drunk. One particular church that I visited where they have the communion, you come in and they give you tear a piece of bread off and you've got the cup. Now the cup is not actually wine. It's just it's a grape juice and you dip it in and you eat it. That's their communion. I could see you getting full off of that. Couldn't see you getting drunk off of that, but if they put actual wine in there, then yeah. Oh, you got it. You have someone in prison? Tell them stay strong. And prison is a benefit for some people because it gives you the opportunity to finally get yourself straight. Couldn't get a hold of you before. Now you're stuck in one spot. Now you can give your full undivided attention to the Lord. That's a benefit. That is a benefit. You hooked on the channel. Thank you. I appreciate you saying so. Thank you. Let me take one more question and I've got to get ready to go, ladies and gentlemen. By the way, I've got all 4 of my grandchildren here today. All 4 of them. The 5th one is coming. And they still don't know what they're going to call her. Why do some Christians believe that after salvation that we don't sin forever? Because they're delusional. They think they don't sin when they do. I wish we could start getting hold of their Ring cameras, their cell phone, see where they visit so we can prove to them, yeah, we know you're lying. It's a good question. If you could travel, where would you go? Sir Walter Jones wants to travel to places Paul went to. Why? He was there. Why would he want to go back to the scene of the crime? Would I go with him? No. Why would I? Listen, let me tell you what you don't do. Let me tell you what you don't do. Ladies and gentlemen, why would you travel with an old man? I mean a real old man. Why? So he can, listen, you know he gets up at least 6 times in the middle of the night to use the bathroom because he's an old man. Right? I don't want to be responsible for knowing where his teeth are. You put them in that glass, you put them in your drawer. I don't want to do all that. You know? I'm not interested in going to making a quick run downstairs to the hotel lobby to get some Depends. Nope. I'm not doing that. I don't want to travel with Sir Walter Jones. He might see one of them real old ladies and wink at her. Now I got to see 2 old people dating while I'm on vacation. No, I don't want to do that. No, I'm kidding. Where would I go? Where would I like to visit? Guys, listen, this is weird. I don't want to visit that many places. I really don't. I realize I'm wrong. You know what's a good vacation for me? That couch, sitting there watching TV, just relaxing. But I think I'm gonna go to Lubbock this year to watch a Texas Tech football game. I'd like to get up to Bloomington to watch a Indiana Hoosiers football game or a basketball game. Love going back to my hometown, Indianapolis. I'm good with staying here in America. Yeah, you the same way? Hey, yeah, listen, y'all go travel. I'm good right here. Let me and the cat just sit here and chill. You know what's weird? When everyone leaves the house, that cat is like right by me. He's looking at me. What we gonna do? Did you just put up a hookem? Oh, my Lord. Oh, my Lord. I'm not going to even say anything bad about the University of Texas. I'm just not. I'm not going to go on and on about how Austin is the 3rd largest LGBTQ community in America. I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to talk about how your mascot is a steer. Not a bull, a steer. Some parts have been removed. I'm not going to even talk about the University of Texas that is afraid to schedule us. I'm not going to talk about it. Doggone it. Wreck them. Get your guns up. I'm kidding. Listen, I love talking trash to the University of Texas Longhorns. Because what university has done so little with so much? I'm kidding. I have fun. So, where would I go out of the country though? I would go. I kind of would. You know what? If I went someplace like Paris with my wife, she would want to go visit stuff that I don't want to visit. Look at them. We come for another championship. Y'all had one championship. I could go to Africa, but I don't want to be there that long. I'll be honest with you. I could go to England. I don't want to be there that long, though. I could take a trip to Alaska, but I definitely don't want to be there that long. It's cold there. Now, I love Hawaii. Hawaii is beautiful. But you know where I don't want to go? I don't want to go someplace where There's a beach. Now, I was telling my wife, I don't want to go to the ocean. There are sharks in the ocean. I don't want to do that. I'm not getting in the ocean. I'm not getting in the water. Listen, I'm not going to be on the news where me and a shark are fighting. I'm not going to do that. I done lost an arm and a half a leg because of this shark. Because she wanted to see the beach. I don't want to do that. So I'm not coming to Kenya. Y'all got some Chick-fil-A in Kenya? By the way, do you have Chick-fil-A in Kenya? I would love to taste some African Chick-fil-A. So now I do like cruises though. I'll take a cruise. I do like cruises. But Elijah, some of your people have discovered cruises. Now I'm not trying to get on a cruise with a bunch of what they call it, Kentucky Fried YNs. I don't know. I'm not trying to do that. I'm not sure. Because again, what do I like? I like peace. Come to Canada. I can go visit Canada. I can go to Canada. I do have a standing invitation from Jeff to come to Canada. I'd like to go to Israel. It'd be just my fortune that I go someplace and some war breaks out. So that's why I like staying here. I'm like Joey from Friends. I just want to sit in my chair. That's all. I'm like Al Bundy. Want to sit on the couch, watch some football. That's it. You tell Allah and Muhammad and everyone else that follows that false religion that unless they place their faith in Christ, they're going to hell. And we don't want to see that. You tell everyone that follows Islam, according to your own book, that you need to ask the people of the book. That's us, and believe what we tell you and don't doubt it. That's Surah 1094. That's what you ought to do. You tell people stop following a known and proud pedophile. That's what you do. You tell people that. Proud to be a pedophile. Wow, how is that? You tell people stop following after this lustful man who would take his own, was it son's or his nephew's wife? Yeah, you stop following that person. You tell people stop following a vile religion that most of its adherents don't even want to be associated with, but they have to out of compulsion. Salvation is only found in Jesus Christ. There is no other name under heaven by which men may be saved. That's in the very book that Muhammad, who could not read, validated. Oh, his adopted son. Yeah, his adopted son. So the very same book that you guys, your false prophet promotes, says that. And you can't say it's been changed because you said the book of the Bible is Allah's word, and Allah's word cannot be changed. So I'm going to go with what it says. If you were a good Muslim, if you were really a good Muslim, you would be a Christian. Amen. Amen. One day, I'm going to do something. One day, I'm going to take some TikTok videos and just look at them with you guys. Just have fun for no good reason. Last question here. Is justification the same as salvation? And what part does reconciliation play in all of this? I'm reading Romans 5. So there's a part where he gives a definite article to the justification. I'm sorry, the reconciliation. We have been given the reconciliation. Now, what the reconciliation is it's part of a three-parter. The three parts are covering, canceling, and then reconciliation. The sin is covered, the debt is canceled. Now, by our faith in Christ, the sin is canceled, the debt is canceled, and the sin is covered simultaneously. And because of that, we are immediately reconciled with the Father. The problem is, though, we're not physically reconciled just yet if we're on earth. But because of that, we can be brought to him. Now, the term justification it's a legal term. It just means to be declared right and treated as such. And the way the atonement works is that if you have been atoned for, if your sins have been covered, the debt has been canceled, and then you are on your way to be someday soon reconciled with the Father, you are to now and henceforth you are declared right, which is justification, and treated as such. By who? You are treated that way by God. So let's read what Paul says. What Paul says in Romans, and I want to read this part to you, where he starts off by saying there is no condemnation. Why is that? Let's scroll all the way down. He's kind of giving an introduction. Now, there's a lot that he's covering here, but I want to drop down to verse, if I can find it. There it is. Nope, not 26, 28. There it is. There it is. For those whom he foreknew, he also predestined to become conformed to the image of his Son, so that he would be the firstborn among many brethren. And these whom he predestined, he also called. And those whom he called, he also justified. And those whom he justified, he also glorified. Here's what I want to read. What then shall we say to these things? If God is for us, why would God be for us? Because we are justified. He has nothing outstanding against us. So if God is for us, who's against us? Well, here's the question. Is there anybody against you? Let me roll it over my mind. Is there anybody against me? Moi, Corey Minor. Sure. Is there anyone against you? Yep. There are people against you who you don't even know. Have no idea they're against you, but they are. But look how he phrased it. Who's against you? Who can be, or some versions might say, who can be against you? In other words, who cares who's against you? Look what he says. He who did not spare his own Son, but delivered him up over for us all, will he not also with him freely give us all things? So if he's for us, what does it matter that people are against you? Look what he says, who will bring a charge against God's elect? So remember when I said this, that to be justified is to be declared right and treated as such. What does it mean to be declared right or righteous? You didn't do anything. It's not like you are righteous in and of yourself. You stink. You're horrible. You are prone to mess up. But he declares you right, or you're in right standing. You are in a righteous view by who? Not by us, but by God. And because God sees you that way, we ought to treat you that way as well. So he says, God is the one who justifies. So who's going to bring a charge against you? There's no other charge that can come against you. When Jesus says to telestai, it has been paid or it has been finished, it's a perfect tense verb that states there's nothing else left to pay. So since, remember I said the sin covered and the debt canceled, then because of that, there's no outstanding debt to telestai. You are now in right standing. Have you ever owed a bill and you had to get that bill paid off? Now you're in right standing. You're in good standing with the creditor. So now you're in right standing with the Lord. So he makes this statement. Who will bring a charge against God's elect? His point is no one, because it's God who justifies. If God says you're justified, imagine someone saying you're justified and then, God saying you're justified and someone comes and saying, no, you're not. Or I think you stink. Or I think you're ugly. Or I don't like the way your shoes look. And it's God who justifies. I've got something to say about your son. What are you going to say about my son? What are you going to say about my son? Well, I didn't know that was your son. Yeah, that's my son. What are you going to say? It's God who justifies. Who's the one who condemns? Who's going to condemn you? Jesus is he who died. Yes, rather, who was raised, who was at the right hand of God, who does what? Also intercedes for us. So you're going to condemn me. Meanwhile, Jesus is there interceding for me. And according to Hebrews 7:25, he's always doing that. And you're going to bring something against me? You got something? You, Mr. Mrs. Ant, you, Mr. Mrs. Flea, you who needs Christ are going to try to undo what Christ has done? Who is going to bring, or who's going to bring a charge? Who's going to condemn me? When Christ is there interceding for us. Here's a question, because we're justified and we've been seen as right and viewed as right and being treated in right standing by who? By God. Who then will separate us? Nobody. Will tribulation? Nope. Will distress? Nope. Persecution? Nope. All of these things, by the way, have been tried and failed. Will famine separate you from his love? Nope. Nakedness? Yeah, but you can this. No, what you can do is not on the table. What's on the table is the love of Christ. Is that what it says? I think that's what it says, the English. And oh, by the way, it's also in the Greek. Who is going to separate us from the love of Christ? Apates agapes tu Christou. Who is going to separate us from the love of Christ? That's what's on the table. Not your love or what you think, his love. Can anyone, anything separate? And he goes through a litany of things. This is the funny thing. This is how just absolutely utter, completely foolish we are. He's literally going through a list of all the things that you can think of. But Paul, you forgot one thing. No, he didn't. Name something that he forgot. Tribulation, distress, persecution, famine, nakedness, peril. That covers an awful lot right there. Or sword. Just as it is written, for your sake, we are being put to death all day long. People are always coming at us. But in all these things, we are overwhelmingly conquerors. Remember, I said that every believer is called a conqueror in Revelation 3:5, the one that overcomes. That's what this word is, the hanikon. This is a hypernikoman, which is the super ridiculously overcoming people. That's what all of us are. All of us are that. All of us are that through him who loved us. Remember, what's the focus? Him loving us. For I am convinced. And this is Paul, not Apostle so-and-so, Prophet Junebug, Bishop Herman. No, Paul. I'm convinced that neither death nor life, what's in that? Any and everything you can think of, nor angels, nor principalities, nor anything that's present. What's that? Well, what about sin? Is that present? Yes. Nothing present, nor things to come, nor powers, nor height, nor depth, nor any other created thing will be able to separate you, This is the part that covers everything. Let me highlight this part for you. Nor any other created thing. Nothing is going to be able to separate you from the love of Christ, love of God, which is in Christ Jesus. Yeah, but he just said, nor any other created thing. Nothing. That's why he starts this off in Romans 8:28 before we get to 31, as he introduces this, and we know that God causes all things to work for the good of those who love God. Those who are called according to his purpose. The very same ones that he says are justified. So what does it mean to be justified? All of that. All of that I just read. I just gave you the long version of your short question. That's the long answer to your short question, but it's a complete answer. What does it mean to be justified? All of that we just read. All of it. And so when someone wants to bring a charge against you, all of that. When someone has something crazy to say, all of that. When someone doesn't like you, all of that. When someone wants to tear you down, all of that. All of what we just read. Amen. Amen.
And your soul grows dim. God makes you rise again at the summit I forged. The men of faith, the legendary ones who give the extra mile again. When pain strikes and courage is gone, remember that Christ gives you the drive. Men of fire, of true spirit, they don't retreat, they keep moving on. Por golpe y falta el valor, recuerda que Cristo te da el motor. Hombres de fuego, de espíritu real, no retroceden, avanzan igual. fuerzas es con su poder. Cuando caigo en la cuesta, Él me hace vencer. A fe me levanta, me vuelve a encender. Mi Dios es mi roca, mi escudo, mi bien. Cuando el cansancio quiera vencer, recuerda que Cristo te hará correr. Hombres de guerra que van a luchar, la milla extra van a entregar. Strikes and courage is gone. Remember that Christ gives you the drive. Men of fire, of true spirit. They don't retreat, they keep moving on. The shout resounds as they go, for love and for truth. It's not by my strength, but by His power. When I fall on the climb, He makes me conquer. Faith lifts me up, it lights me again. My God is my rock, my shield, my gain. When exhaustion tries to win, remember that Christ will make you run. Man of war, who rise to fight, will give the extra mile tonight. El grito retumba al andar, por amor y verdad. No es con mis fuerzas, es con su poder. Cuando caigo en la cuesta, Él me hace vencer. A fe me levanta, me vuelve a encender. Mi Dios es mi roca, mi escudo, mi